My fiance's parents told me privately, sign this prenup giving her 70% of everything or no wedding. I said, let me think about it. Then I showed my fiance the document they drafted without her knowledge. Her horror when she realized what her parents had been planning. I, a 32-year-old man, was sitting in my future in-laws' formal living room, the one with furniture nobody actually uses, when her father slid a manila folder across the coffee table. Just a formality, he said. Our attorney drafted it to protect everyone's interests. My fiancée was at her aunt's bridal shower. This was supposed to be a quick conversation about the final wedding headcount. Her parents, me, some awkward wedding small talk, nothing unusual. I opened the folder. Prenuptial agreement was printed across the top in bold letters. Okay, not ideal, but not outrageous either. Some families want prenups. I started reading. Standard asset separation. Fine. Provisions for shared property. Whatever. Then page 4 hit me like a truck. In the event of dissolution of marriage, wife shall receive 70% of all marital assets, including but not limited to retirement accounts, real property acquired before or during marriage, investment portfolios, and business interests. I read it again. 70% of everything, including my condo that I had purchased outright before we even met, including the 401k I'd been building since I was 23, including assets I brought into the marriage. This gives her 70% of my premarital assets, I said. Her mother smiled. Well, she'll be giving up her prime earning years for children. That has monetary value. She's a kindergarten teacher. She's not quitting. Children change things, her father said. She may need to reduce her hours or stay home. You'll continue advancing your career while she sacrifices. It's only fair she's compensated. We haven't even talked about having kids. Her mother's smile tightened. You want them eventually. Our daughter deserves protection for that sacrifice. Protection is 50-50, I said. This is 70-30 in her favor for assets I already own. If you truly love her, her father said, leaning forward, a prenup shouldn't matter. Sign it and we can all move forward with the wedding. There it was, the threat hidden beneath the polite language. And if I don't sign, then we'd need to reconsider whether this wedding should happen, her mother said, as casually as if she were discussing the weather. We can't support a marriage that doesn't protect our daughter's future. I sat there holding the document, feeling my brain catch up to what was happening. They had ambushed me. They waited until my fiancé was gone, got me alone, and dropped this on me with only 6 weeks left before the wedding. Let me think about it, I said. Her father's jaw tightened. We need an answer by this weekend. The wedding is coming up fast. Then I'll give you an answer this weekend. I drove home. My fiancé got back around 8 that evening, happy and glowing from the shower, showing me the gifts everyone had brought. I waited until she settled onto the couch. You parents had an interesting conversation with me today. Oh yeah? About what? I handed her the folder. I watched her expression change as she read. Confusion. Then shock. Then something that looked like she wanted to throw up. They did this without telling me? Her voice rose. 70%? Your condo? Since when did they? She grabbed her phone and called her mother right then and there. Without asking if I minded, she put it on speaker. Good, Mom. What is this prenup? Why didn't you tell me you were doing this? Her mother's voice immediately turned smooth. Sweetheart, we were handling the business side of things, so you wouldn't have to stress about it. It's standard protection for women entering marriage. Standard? He gets 30% of his own property if we divorce? That's not standard. That's theft. Darling, you need to think long term. What if he leaves after you have children? What if? What if he doesn't? What if we're happy? You're planning my divorce before my wedding. Her father's voice sounded from the background. If he has a problem with it, that tells you something about his commitment. My fiancé's hand was shaking. If you had a problem with him, you should have said something before now. Not ambush him with this. We'll discuss this later when you're calmer, her mother said. Don't you dare hang up on me. You went behind my back. You cornered my fiancé in your living room. This is... Click. They hung up. My fiancé stared at her phone, then looked at me. I didn't know. I swear to God, I had no idea they were planning this. I know. What are you going to do? Good question. Sign it and start our marriage under their thumb? Refuse and let them blow up the wedding? I'm not signing that, I said. The question is, what are you going to do? She looked down at the prenup again, then back at me. I'm going over there tomorrow. We're settling this. Update 1. The settling this conversation went about as well as lighting a match in a gas station. My fiance went to her parents' house the next morning and came back looking like she'd been through a war. They won't budge. Not at all. She dropped onto the couch. Mom keeps saying every smart woman protects herself, that I'm being naive, that you're manipulating me against them. What did you say? That we're not doing it. That if we want a prenup, it'll be fair and mutual. That they had no right to go behind my back. How did that go over? She laughed, but there wasn't any humor in it. Mom cried. Full breakdown. How can you choose some man over your own parents who only want what's best for you? Dad was quieter. He just said I'd regret this when you drain my accounts and leave me with nothing. The entitlement was unbelievable. They genuinely believed they should control the terms of our marriage. They're threatening to pull wedding funding, my fiancé said quietly. For context, they had offered to cover about $28,000 of our $45,000 wedding budget. Everything was planned. Deposits were paid. Invitations had been sent. Then we scaled down, I said. Backyard wedding, smaller guest list. I don't care. I care. She looked up at me. Not about the big wedding. I care that they think money gives them control over my life. Her phone buzzed. A group text. Her parents had sent it to her, both of her brothers, and somehow even her work email. We are disappointed in the choices being made. Until our daughter sees reason, we are withdrawing all financial support for this wedding. We love you, but cannot support a marriage that isn't properly protected. They copied my work email. My fiance's voice went flat. My work email? Her phone started ringing immediately. Her oldest brother. She answered on speaker. What? What are you doing? He asked, sounding annoyed. Just sign the thing. I had a prenup. So did he, meaning the other brother. It's not a big deal. Did yours give your wife 70% of everything you owned before you even met her? Pause. Well, no, but then it's not the same. This is insulting to both of us. You're going to blow up the family over a piece of paper? They're blowing up my wedding because they need to control me. Don't put this on me. She hung up. The phone rang again immediately. The other brother. She declined the call. Then her mom started the real campaign. She called every day. Long emotional conversations about family loyalty and trust. And we only want what's best for you, sweetie. Her dad took a different approach. He started emailing her articles, divorce statistics, stories about women who were financially devastated after divorce, horror stories about prenups that should have been signed. Each one came with a small note. Just want you informed, princess. Classic good cop, bad cop. Mom with the tears, dad with the logic. But the thing that really revealed their playbook? Her mom called my mom. My mom is a retired nurse and doesn't tolerate nonsense. She called me laughing. Got the strangest phone call today. Your future mother-in-law wanted to express concerns about the marriage and ask if I could talk some sense into you. I told her my son has plenty of sense and she should mind her own business. What did you do to piss them off? I explained the entire prenup situation. So they want 70% of your condo because their daughter might have kids someday? Tell them to pound sand with both feet. Already did. Good. You need money for the wedding if they backed out? We'll figure it out. Thanks, though. About a week into all of this, my fiancé started wavering. Not about marrying me. About standing up to them. Maybe we should just sign something, she said one night. Not their version, but maybe a reasonable prenup. Just show that we're willing to meet them halfway. Meet them halfway to what? They ambushed us, went behind your back, threatened the wedding. Now you want to give them what they want. Not what they want. Just something to make this stop. It won't stop. You give an inch, they'll take a mile. They'll have concerns about our house, our jobs, our kids. It never stops with people like this. She became defensive. They're my parents. I can't just cut them off. Nobody's asking you to cut them off, but you can't let them run our marriage. It was the first real fight we'd had in months. She slept in the spare room. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was the one being unreasonable. The next morning, she came out with red eyes. You're right. I don't know how to handle them. We handle them together. Boundaries. They can be part of our lives, but they can't control our lives. She nodded, but I could still see the fear, the guilt, the years of conditioning that taught her to put her parents' feelings first. That's when they sent the letter. Actual certified mail. One arrived at each of our addresses. I opened mine first, took a picture, and sent it to my fiance. Her response, "You've got to be kidding me." The letter outlined their conditions for reconciliation. 1. Sign the prenuptial agreement exactly as drafted, with no modifications. 2. Postpone the wedding until we completed premarital counseling with a therapist they selected. 3. Move the wedding to their country club. We had already booked a vineyard. 4. Grant them consultation rights on major life decisions for the first 5 years of marriage. And if we agreed to all of it, they would generously increase their contribution to cover 75% of the wedding costs. My fiancée called me from her classroom during lunch. Consultation rights? Consultation rights? On our life decisions? Saw that. This is insane. They've lost their minds. What do you want to do? There was a long pause. I could hear children playing in the background at her school. I want to marry you. Small ceremony, just the people who actually support us. I want to tell them they can come if they drop this or stay home if they can't. And I want to stop answering their calls until they apologize. You sure? I'm sure. We sent a joint email response. We will not be signing the proposed prenup or agreeing to your terms. Our wedding will proceed as planned on the original date at the original venue, scaled to fit our budget. You are invited to attend and celebrate with us. Or, not that is your choice. This conversation is over. We hit send at the same time from both of our email accounts. Her mom called 31 times in 3 hours. We didn't answer. Update 2, they declared war. The first strike came at my fiancé's workplace. Her mother showed up at the elementary school during school hours and created a full-blown scene in the front office, crying about how we were making a terrible mistake and insisting she needed to see her daughter immediately. The principal had to step in. My fiancée was called out of her classroom and walked into the office to find her mother sobbing to the school secretary about losing her baby girl to a manipulative man. The principal was polite but firm. "Ma'am, this is inappropriate. You need to leave." Afterward, my fiancé had to sit in the principal's office, explain the family situation, and assure them it wouldn't happen again. The principal was understanding, but also clearly concerned. Because nothing says stable teacher quite like your mother causing a scene at your workplace. She called me from her car afterward, her voice shaking. She came to my school, in front of my coworkers' parents dropping off kids, everyone. "I'm sorry. Stop apologizing for them. You're not the one who, God, this is so messed up." The second strike involved our wedding venue. They called and claimed they had paid the deposit and wanted to cancel the reservation. The venue coordinator called us, confused because our names were on the contract and our card had been charged. We had to provide proof of payment and explicitly state that only we were authorized to make changes. The coordinator was apologetic but clearly unsettled. "We've never had family members try to cancel someone else's wedding," she said. "That's unusual." The third strike made my blood boil. My boss called me into his office. "Got a strange call today? Your future father-in-law?" My stomach dropped. What did he say? He wanted to express concerns about your mental state and whether you were handling stress appropriately. Suggested the company should check on your well-being. He paused. "Want to tell me what's actually going on?" I gave him the short version. Future in-laws unhappy about wedding decisions, trying to cause problems. My boss nodded. Figured it was something like that. "For the record, your work has been fine. But if they call again, I'm having HR send a cease and desist. We can't have people harassing our employees." They had tried to sabotage my job. They had actually called my workplace to make me look unstable. It gets worse, my fiance said that night. They're calling wedding guests. What? My cousin just called. Said my mom contacted her and told her the wedding was postponed due to unforeseen circumstances and that updated information would be sent soon. We had to send a mass email to every guest. Please disregard any communication from her parents. The wedding is proceeding as scheduled. We look forward to seeing you there. It was humiliating. We had to tell 90 people that my future in-laws were actively trying to sabotage our wedding. But they still weren't done. Her mom tried to organize an intervention. She contacted both brothers, several aunts and uncles, and even her godmother. The plan was to sit my fiancée down and have everyone talk sense into her. Her middle brother called to warn us. Mom's planning something this weekend. Family meeting at their house. She wants you there so everyone can tell you you're making a mistake. I'm not going. This is crazy. But I wanted to give you a heads up. We stayed home that weekend. When they showed up at our apartment building, we ignored the doorbell. They sat in the lobby for an hour before building security asked them to leave. My neighbor texted me, people downstairs asking about you. Want me to tell them you moved? I almost said yes, but the text that really showed their sense of entitlement came from her mom after they left. All of this could stop if you would just listen to reason. We're only doing this because we love you and want to protect you. Sign the prenup, postpone the wedding until you're thinking clearly, and everything will go back to normal. The choice is yours, sweetheart. The choice is yours. As if she were doing us a favor. As if we were the difficult ones. My fiancé replied, "You came to my workplace. You tried to sabotage his job. You lied to our wedding guests. You harassed us at home. This isn't love. This is control. We are done communicating until you apologize and respect our boundaries." Then she blocked their numbers, blocked them on social media. She also emailed every vendor, attaching photos of her parents. These individuals are not authorized to make any changes to our event. Please verify all requests directly with us. I called a family lawyer. I just wanted to understand our options. The lawyer was direct. What they're doing is harassment, especially the workplace interference. You could pursue a restraining order if they don't stop. But that's the nuclear option. It may not be worth it unless they escalate into threats or stalking. What about the prenup itself? I asked. If we had signed it, would it have held up? She actually laughed. Probably not. Courts generally don't like extremely one-sided prenups, especially when there's evidence of coercion. The ambush, the short deadline, the threats to cancel the wedding. A lawyer could argue duress and get it thrown out. They probably knew that. They wanted control. When I told my fiancé what the lawyer had said, something seemed to click for her. They knew it might not even be legal. They just wanted me to feel protected and you to feel less than. They wanted our marriage to start with me having power over you. Yeah. She sat quietly for a long time. Then I don't want them at the wedding. You sure? If they're there, they'll cause a scene. They'll find some way to make it about them and about how we're making mistakes. I'd rather not have them there than spend my wedding day managing their feelings. We sent one final message through her middle brother. You are not invited to our wedding. Your behavior has been unacceptable. Do not contact us, our employers, our vendors, or our guests. Any further harassment will result in legal action. Her brother got back to us later. They're pissed. Dad's talking about exposing who he really is. Mom's crying. Just be ready for whatever comes next. Exposing what? My fiancé asked. You're the most boring person alive. No offense. Some taken. I mean that lovingly, but seriously, what are they going to expose? Your crippling addiction to reorganizing the spice rack? Despite everything, it made me laugh. But the threat still lingered. What exactly were they going to do next? Final update. We got married 4 days ago. My wife still getting used to that word looked incredible. I cried during the vows, which I hadn't planned on doing, but whatever. It was perfect. Her parents didn't show up. Thank God. But the lead-up was a nightmare. After we officially uninvited them, they went completely silent for about a week. For a moment, we thought they had finally backed off. Wrong. Her dad sent a certified letter to our apartment, complete with official law firm letterhead and all the formal trimmings. Inside was a cease and desist letter accusing me of alienation of affection and undue influence. It threatened legal action if we proceeded with the wedding without a mutually agreed upon prenuptial agreement approved by legal counsel for both families. I took it to the lawyer I had previously consulted. She skimmed it, then tossed it straight into her trash can. Alienation of affection isn't even recognized in the state anymore, and approved by both families' legal counsel? That's not how prenups work. This is a scare tactic from a lawyer who took their money knowing it's nonsense. Ignore it. So we did. Then her mom created a Facebook event, a family celebration, scheduled for the exact same day and time as our wedding. She invited extended family, distant cousins, and family friends. The description read, "A gathering to support family values and wise decision-making in challenging times." It was a competing event designed to pull people away from our wedding. About half of the extended family saw through it immediately. They messaged us asking what was going on. We gave them a brief explanation. Most of them came to our wedding. The other half attended her parents' event. Fine. We didn't want them at our wedding anyway. Afterward, her mom posted photos. Her husband, my wife's oldest brother and his family, plus maybe 15 relatives. Everyone dressed up. Everyone holding champagne glasses. Everyone smiling for the camera. The caption read, "Celebrating true family values with those who stand by their principles. Family first, values matter." My wife saw it through a cousin who showed her. She simply shook her head. They threw themselves a party despite us on our wedding day. "You okay?" I asked. Honestly? Yeah. I'm sad they chose this, but they chose it, not me. By then, she had been seeing a therapist for a few weeks. Working through the guilt and family dynamics had helped a lot. The day before the wedding, her oldest brother called. "I'm not coming tomorrow. Mom and Dad are really hurt. I need to support them, but I hope you two will be happy." "Thanks for letting us know," my wife said, her voice completely flat. After she hung up, she just said, "Down to one." Her middle brother had been quietly supportive. He sent a gift along with a note apologizing for not being brave enough to attend while wishing us well. At least one sibling had some backbone. We hired security for the wedding. 2 off-duty police officers. We gave them photos of her parents and strict instructions not to let them in. They never showed up. I danced with my wife in my aunt's backyard beneath string lights, surrounded by 40 people who genuinely loved us. Every bit of the drama was worth it. Our honeymoon was a long weekend at a bed and breakfast upstate. We turned off our phones for 3 straight days. When we came back, there were 22 missed calls from various family members and 1 email that made my jaw drop. Her parents had sent a mass email. To everyone. People who attended our wedding. People who attended their party. Distant relatives who had been invited to neither. The subject line was, "A mother's heartbreak." It was a manifesto. They detailed everything from their perspective. How they had reasonably requested basic legal protection for their daughter. How I manipulated and isolated her from her family. How they had tried everything possible to prevent this mistake, only to be cruelly excluded from their own daughter's wedding. They painted themselves as victims. They painted me as a controlling villain. Some people believed it. Most didn't. The people who actually knew us sent screenshots along with messages like, "They're unhinged. You dodged a bullet by not having them there." My wife read the entire thing. Then she spent an hour carefully writing a response. She sent it to the exact same distribution list. "This will be my only statement. My parents drafted a prenuptial agreement behind my back demanding 70% of my fiance's assets, including property he owned before we ever met. When we refused and instead offered to discuss a fair agreement, they threatened to cancel our wedding. When that didn't work, they showed up at my workplace, called his employer in an attempt to make him seem unstable, lied to our wedding guests, and harassed us at our home. We set boundaries. They violated those boundaries repeatedly. We got married surrounded by people who support us. I'm happy, I'm safe, and I'm exactly where I choose to be. I won't be responding to any further questions." She hit send. Then she blocked everyone who replied demanding more explanations or insisting she owed her parents an apology. Her dad made one final attempt through her middle brother's wife. We're willing to reconcile if she apologizes and agrees to attend counseling with our pastor. My wife's response was simple. No. That was a month ago. We haven't heard a word since. We've settled into married life. Same apartment. Same routines. But it feels different. Lighter. Like we finally put down a weight we'd been carrying for far too long. The financial hit was real, though. The wedding ended up costing us about $19,000 out of pocket, our original share plus the portion they withdrew. It wiped out most of our savings. We're rebuilding slowly. My wife picked up summer tutoring work. I've been doing freelance IT jobs on weekends. Money is tight, but manageable. We also met with an estate attorney and got everything documented properly. Wills, power of attorney, all of it. If something happens to me, she gets everything because I chose to leave it to her, not because our parents demanded it through their ridiculous prenup. She opened a separate savings account and started building her own safety net, one they can't see and can't touch. Sometimes we talk about the future, maybe kids in a few years, but we're both cautious. Will her parents try to claim grandparents' rights? Will they show up at a hospital? We don't know. We'll deal with that bridge when we come to it. For now, we're just living, working, and building our life together. My wife still gets sad sometimes. She mourns the relationship she thought she had with her parents. I don't try to fix it. I just hold her when she needs me. Do you think they'll ever apologize? She asked me last night. No. They believe they were right. They think we're the ones who messed up. Yeah? She was quiet for a moment. That's what I think too. Does it change anything? No. I chose you. I chose us. I chose my own life, even if it cost me them. The revenge wasn't some dramatic public confrontation. It was simply living well, being happy, building a marriage based on partnership instead of control. Her parents wanted power over our relationship. They got nothing. No access, no leverage, no say. They threw themselves a spite party while we celebrated with people who genuinely cared about us. They sent manifestos that were mostly ignored. Now they're sitting in their house, probably still convinced they were right, while we're here in our apartment, actually happy. That's the consequence. They chose control over connection, pride over their daughter. They got exactly what they chose. My wife and I got each other. A marriage built on trust and equal partnership. The knowledge that we stood up for ourselves when it mattered. It's not the ending I expected when I sat down in that formal living room and opened that manila folder. But honestly, I'll take this over a marriage that started with their 70/30 prenup and a lifetime of their interference. We're good. Really good. And that's enough.